What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. We're a niche channel reserved for the best. Super dope. I do sell comics. Check me out on Instagram at 6_element_comics.
¿Qué? ¿Que no?
Yeah, because comic books are the sixth element of hip hop.
That's what I was.
Oh, but what's good? Sixth element of hip hop. You are in the right place. If that's what you're looking for, I'm your host, Reno Noir. This is my co-host, Stu Dog. What's up, Stu?
Salute. Peace.
It is Monday. It is Monday, and it is February 27th. And in just 2 days, we got The Mandalorian season 3 finally is back. And that's dope because Wednesdays, like our show, is called Wars Wednesday. No, it's called Woo Wars Wednesday. And there's a reason, because every Wednesday right now we're gonna be doing the Wu-Tang show and the Mandalorian show. That's Wu-Tang, Star Wars, Woo Wars Wednesdays. Niche channel. That's what I'm talking about. What's good? Salute to the Corey Adger. What's good? Back to the
Corey
grind.
Adger, salute. Corey Adger, salute, baby.
Yeah, man. It's not a crazy show or anything today, man. We just kind of kicking it, man, chilling. We got the dope Mando final teaser for the final trailer that they put out, and a lot of cool Star Wars news, a lot of cool Star Wars stuff, some Marvel stuff to talk about, and some hip hop stuff too. We got some hip hop news as well. Where's this thing? Oh, so if you want to catch up, right? If you want to catch up for the Mandalorian for the season 3 episode, there's some Darksaber episodes that you got to catch so that you know what's going on. And this has been, a topic of discussion, a little problem that they put this important information for the show in Book of Boba Fett. And so, if you suffered through that show, then you saw the important stuff. If you didn't, if you like many after episode 1 or 2 said fuck this shit, you missed it completely, and you'll have no idea what's going on when season 3 starts. But it is day after tomorrow, and you'll have Din Djarin and Grogu back together, which is crazy because they weren't together at the end of season 2. This happens in Book of Boba Fett. Also, Din Djarin is now the wielder of the Darksaber, and that's created back during the days of the Old Republic. Way back, the Darksaber is forged by the galaxy's first ever Mandalorian Jedi. All right, and as such, the blade is just as unique as the guy who made it, and it's one of a kind. And it's had significant appearances in multiple Star Wars shows beyond just The Mandalorian. We saw it where we see it, Stu, in Clone Wars, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Clone Wars. And then so season 3, Din Djarin is going to be facing these new struggles following the end of season 2. And when he inadvertently laid claim to the Darksaber after besting Moff Gideon in we'll call it combat, who was current owner of the blade. But the Darksaber was once the property of Bo-Katan Kryze, and she's a big character in season 3. And she was the former regent of Mandalore, right? And she was kind of the boss of it all, and she sought to reclaim the blade in order to unite the various Mandalorian clans under one banner and solidify her leadership and all of that. And Din Djarin couldn't care less about those things, but has inadvertently complicated all of that, because you can't give the Darksaber to somebody. They have to beat you in combat and take it. That's otherwise it's erroneous. It's whatever. It's irrelevant. You don't
doesn't count. Yeah, it doesn't count, man.
count.
You can't
Right,
lay
right.
claim to the throne. Yeah, that's
You can't be the boss.
ritualistic combat, like sort of like Black Panther, which by the
Right.
way I watched again earlier this I
And
watched
it
again.
it also reminds me of some Klingon shit too. They be doing shit like that too. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
like
If in the Klingon culture,
ceremonial
if you
combat.
yeah, if the right of succession is actually voted on, but at
Right,
any given time, somebody can challenge you for leadership if they
right.
feel that you're not doing a good job in leading the empire. And if that person
And that's
wins,
kinda
they become the new chancellor.
right, and that's kinda how it goes with the dark saber. It's kinda how the Mandalorians are. They're a warrior culture and all of that, so very similar in that regard, but here's the biggest all right, so the biggest must-watch episodes involving the dark saber and its history, that you should watch before Mandalorian 3, basically go to and this is not I'm not talking about Mandalorian here or Book of Boba Fett, I mean Clone Wars. So it's called The Mandalore Plot. It's season 2, episode 12 of the Clone Wars. All right, write that down. Season 2, episode 12, The Clone Wars. And the Clone Wars in season 2, the Mandalorian extremist clan known as the Death Watch was introduced. And after being discovered, their leader Pre Vizsla faced off against Obi-Wan Kenobi with the dark saber. And the episode serves as the Blade's very first appearance in Star Wars. It's the first time we ever see the dark saber in on screen, and alludes to its ancient history and the reveal that Vizsla's ancestors stole it from the Jedi Temple, and the unique dark saber is still unlike any weapon that's been introduced since in the Star Wars galaxy. And it's a fun bit of history to point out that the future Mandalorian showrunner Jon Favreau provided the voice for Pre Vizsla and is currently the voice of Paz Vizsla during the era of the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. And you probably recognize Paz from I think that's yeah, so the Clone Wars. So Clone Wars and the Mandalorian showrunner Dave Filoni once revealed that the dark saber was created by George Lucas himself. And which is news because I thought he created it. I thought that Dave Filoni made that for the which is the Clone Wars show, because he basically invented the Clone Wars show. I mean, he didn't invent it, rather he wrote it, but George invented it. But originally, Pre Vizsla would wield a pre-existing weapon known as a vibro blade. So if you've played any of the old Republic video games or read any of the Legends novels, you've heard of the vibro blade, which is basically a metal sword. It's not a laser sword like a lightsaber, but it vibrates at such a high rate or whatever, making it so it makes it cut like crazy or whatever. But George Lucas didn't, like the idea of just a common sword being held, to counter a lightsaber. And so the dark saber and its ancient history were created for that reason. So that's season 2, episode 12, Clone Wars. The next one you got to watch is Shades of Reason, episode 5. No, season 5, episode 15. Okay, the Clone Wars again. Season 5, episode 15. It's called Shades of Reason. And following a handful of subsequent appearances in Pre Vizsla's possession, the Darksaber exchanged hands after Vizsla attempted to betray Darth Maul and his brother, Savage Opress, and whom the Death Watch had been allied with in the Clone Wars in season 5. So challenging Vizsla's to a duel to the death, Maul emerged victorious and decapitating Vizsla with the dark saber and claiming the blade as his own. And along with now he's got the right to claim the throne of Mandalore. So Darth Maul becomes the Mandalore, which is what they call the leader of the Mandalorians. And Darth Maul would go on to keep the dark saber in his possession throughout the Clone Wars and into the reign of the Empire. All right, now we're jumping to another show. Now you go to season 3, episode 11 of the show called Rebels. All right, Star Wars Rebels. The show is called Visions and Voices. And again, that's season 3, episode 11. And as we saw in the animated series Rebels, just before A New Hope, which is the first Star Wars movie, and the Darksaber leaves Maul's possession following the Ghost Crew's encounter with him in the 3rd season. Facing the former Sith on Dathomir, Sabine Wren who is a Mandalorian from the show Rebels that we'll also see in live action in the Ahsoka show. She recognizes the Darksaber and its reputation amongst her people, the Mandalorians, and as such, the Mandalorian. She was in, she's like a graffiti artist, which is I love this character because she's super hip hop. She's a graffiti artist and she's a Mandalorian, and as such, she reluctantly claims the blade and takes it with her. And thanks to this episode, the dark saber is finally liberated from the likes of Darth Maul and those who would, be on the dark side, who'd be keeping it basically as just a little more than a trophy, just something to remind him of his power and, not much else. Now one other show, same show, Rebels, another episode, season 3, and this is episode number 15. It's called Trials of the Darksaber. All right, that's season 3, episode 15. If you give a fuck, if you're writing this down, this is Rebels. All right, continuing the narrative in Star Wars Rebels season 3, a large portion of the Darksaber's history is revealed through a discussion between Kanan Jarrus and the Mandalorian protector Fen Rao, and he's trying to learn more about the Darksaber that Sabine recovered, and Kanan learns from Rao that about the Darksaber and the Jedi Mandalorian who forged it in the Old Republic, because his name was Tare Vizsla, and having been stolen by Clan Vizsla from the Jedi Temple during after Tare's death, the legend was born that the wielder of the Darksaber would be given the right to rule Mandalore and unite all the clans as one. As such, the Darksaber, becomes this key tool to be used against Clan Saxon, who had allowed Mandalore to be occupied by the Empire. And so, however, Sabine first had to learn how to wield the legendary blade because it's not just like a lightsaber. You have to sort of embrace its power. You have to find this inner peace within you to even wield it. Otherwise, it just becomes like a ton. You can't even pick it up. And thanks to Kanan's training, Sabine sort of becomes capable and the owner of the Darksaber, while also gaining a stronger resolve to save and support her estranged family on Mandalore. So moving ahead to season 4, episode number 1 of Rebels, is called Heroes of Mandalore, and so we're gonna meet Bo-Katan, who is a major character in the show, and some other characters in this episode, and it's in what's currently the final animated appearance of the Darksaber. Sabine had used the blade to unite her family and their fellow clans against Clan Saxon. And following a major victory, Sabine gives Bo-Katan Kryze the Darksaber so she might become the new regent of Mandalore following the death of her sister Satine during the Clone Wars. And so this is technically, makes Bo-Katan the Darksaber's new wielder. And it would later be confirmed that it should have been earned through combat. And so there's a sort of issue there, and this was the mandate according to the Darksaber's legend that was ultimately ignored and potentially leading to the hardship that followed for Mandalore, which a lot of people believed was the curse brought on by Bo-Katan taking the saber as basically as like a gift rather than earning it the right way. So that's the last episode you're gonna see it in animated in any of the animated shows. So the next episode you gotta watch is season 1, episode 8 of The Mandalorian, where we see, following the events of the original trilogy of the Star Wars films, and the birth of the New Republic, the Darksaber sort of makes its first live action appearance here in this first season, wielded by Moff Gideon, and the leader of the Imperial Remnant. He uses the blade to escape out of this TIE fighter that crashed. He like cuts his way out of it, and because Din Djarin had brought down the TIE fighter to keep Grogu from being captured, and but serving as the final shot of the first season, to tease, the next season, the dark saber does become part of the series. You see what's his name, Moff Gideon, standing on top of the TIE fighter with the dark saber in his hand. And then you jump to season 2, episode number 8, where we see it again in The Mandalorian. It's called The Rescue, season 2, episode 8. All right. This is when, having allied himself with Bo-Katan and her night owls just to rescue Grogu from the Imperial remnant, Din Djarin agrees to help Bo-Katan reclaim the Darksaber from Moff Gideon. Because again, he has no interest in like being the head of, the ruler of Mandalore or any of this stuff. And so Moff Gideon had again taken it from her during the Empire's, genocide of Mandalore. So, and this isn't shown. We don't see this happen, but we learn about it. So Moff Gideon gets it from her when they're basically killing Mandalorians, left and right. And the final episode of season 2, we see Din Djarin defeating Moff Gideon in combat to save Grogu, resulting in his inadvertent claim to the Darksaber and the throne of Mandalore that comes with it. So unless Bo-Katan decides to challenge Din for the Darksaber, he currently has the authority and the power that she, seeks and has basically sought since Clone Wars. And so he doesn't. So, but now we see in season 1, episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett, and this is where you gotta jump out of the Mandalorian and jump over to Book of Boba Fett and see episode 5. At the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, Din Djarin resumes bounty hunting after Grogu goes with Luke Skywalker for his Jedi training. Now, upon returning to the remaining members of his clan, the armorer reveals that more about the Darksaber to us and to Din Djarin, as well as the particulars behind the Mandalorian Purge, which was known as the Night of 1,000 Tears, and all of that stuff. We hear all about this, and that was the same dark event where Gideon conquered the blade from Bo-Katan, where Moff Gideon originally got it from her, and that we don't see. So Din Djarin learns to embrace the power of the Darksaber, learns how to sort of wield it rather than basically resisting it like he had been, and which the armorer gave him instruction on how to do this, and Mando, slowly becomes more proficient and basically ends up defending his right to wield it after he's challenged by Paz Vizsla. Now, after reuniting with Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett's finale, not Mandalorian season 2, Din Djarin is now sort of ready to visit Mandalore to be forgiven for the sin of removing his helmet, because apparently, now that he's removed his helmet, he's not a Mandalorian under the strict traditions of his faction. But Bo-Katan and the rest of the Mandalorians, they don't follow that strict sort of extremist way where they take their helmets off all the time. And we'll definitely see Bo-Katan have a major role in season 3, and that sort of dynamic coming into play. And the Darksaber will continue to be a major source of power and conflict throughout this season. Yeah, so that's it. If you want to know what's going on with the Darksaber, that's how you're gonna get ready. You're gonna do season 2, episode 12, The Clone Wars, season 5, episode 15, The Clone Wars, season 3, episode 11, Rebels, season 3, episode 15, Rebels, season 4, episode 1, Rebels, season 1, episode 8, Mandalorian, and season 2, episode 8, Mandalorian. Then season 1, episode 5, Book of Boba Fett. And there you go. And that's how you will know everything you need to know about the saber.
That'll get you ready for season 3.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Which we will see. We'll see soon. Slade, what up, Slade? guys, will they release 2 episodes out of the gate? Okay, so next thing about this is, unfortunately, in their infinite wisdom, the first episode of Mandalorian will be the shortest episode of any Star Wars show thus far. It's gonna be like 35 minutes long.
Dang.
I don't know why, but that's the word. So, unfortunately, now
Well,
I don't think we're getting 2 out the box. I think it's just gonna be that one 30-minute episode, which is gonna
dang.
be, but the season itself and as a whole promises to be crazy, but it is very weird. It is very weird. Norin, I thought for sure the first episode, because traditionally the first episode of these shows has been an extra long one, or they'll do 2 or
Yep.
3 episodes.
Yes.
But yeah, but this one being a short episode is mad weird. But this is the
This one,
final.
they don't.
Sorry, bro. Go ahead.
This one, they don't care about us.
Yeah,
So
they
you
don't
get
care.
30 minutes and step off.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that
And then
is kind of weird, though.
it
Because
is,
normally they're like 40, 45 minutes.
man, at
The
least
episodes.
right. And then you would think that first episode would be one of the longer ones, but and it's the shortest one of the season, so it's not like they're all going to be short like that. But yeah, it is strange that they're picking the first one to be that really short one. Maybe they just crammed a lot of great content into that 30 minutes, and that's all they needed to open it up. I don't know.
We'll see.
Maybe they're so confident that the season's going to be so great they don't worry about it. Yeah, hey, who knows? But we got the final teaser trailer right here. It's a little 2-minute joint. So this is the final trailer that we're gonna get, obviously, because it comes out in 2 days. So enjoy this here, and I'll be right back.
Being a Mandalorian is not just learning about how to fight. The creed is how we survived. Without the creed, what are we? This is the way. Hang on, kid. This is the way. This is the way.
Mandalorian Season 3, Wednesday, only on Disney+.
Our people are scattered, like stars in a galaxy. What are we? What do we stand for? Being a Mandalorian is not just learning about how to fight. You also have to know how to navigate the galaxy. That way, you'll never be lost. I'm going to Mandalore, so that I may be forgiven for my transgressions. This is the way.
There's something dangerous happening out there. And by the time it becomes big enough for you to act, it'll be too late.
Hang on, kid. This is the way.
This is the way. This is the motherfucking way. I just have to put this up here because I don't know what it means, but it's hilarious in and of itself. From Fanny Reamer. Uh,
The
the
goo
goo
from Ant-Man.
from Ant-Man 3 is turd and shroom. Old native tradition. Have video. Hashtag Ant-Man 3. Hashtag turd and shrooms. Heavy spoilers. I don't know.
Sure. Wait, like what goo from Ant-Man? What goo?
Who knows? That's the funny part. Who knows? I don't know. The goo from Ant-Man 3 is turd and shroom. That's just awesome. I don't know what it is, but this is the damn way. Fanny Reamer, we don't know what you're talking about, but we're
The
entertained.
shroom.
So
Does she mean like the background part where it's you know how you in the quantum zone it's all psychedelic and like and look like a lava lamp? Is she talking about that?
maybe. I don't think I don't think that she's really talking about anything. I think she's being funny, but I don't know. Maybe it is something real specific. I don't know. Fanny will let us know. But
Mm.
this so Mandalorian season 3 is according to the executive producer Rick Famuyiwa is the biggest and most ambitious season yet. So I guess it makes up for that short first episode. But he said, quote, I think every season you try to tell a simple story that connects. I can say that this season has certainly been the biggest yet, the most ambitious yet. It was almost crazy to try to do everything we've tried to do in this season, but I think that ambition is just driven by wanting to continue to make these stories great. For me, the foundation has always been that simple relationship between Mando and Grogu. The adventures get bigger, and the characters you meet might be as iconic as Luke Skywalker, but it's always in the service of that simple story. That's taken us to bigger and bigger places, and certainly this season is the biggest yet. Now, who is he talking about when he says characters that you might meet as iconic as Luke Skywalker? And the consensus is that they could be talking about Mace Windu.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
would
what
be
that's
bro.
what
That would be bro, that would be
that
huge.
would be the only
That'd be as
thing
huge as Luke at
as
the end
Luke.
of the last
Yeah,
season. Yeah.
right. Exactly. So that's what the Star Wars nerds and those are predicting is that it's is Mace Windu. Now that would be fucking great, and it would be as big as Luke showing up. And if they're gonna try to match that sort of energy, I think that's what it would take. I can't think of anything else because it's not only this guy. As John Favreau also said, there's some big event, some big surprise that's supposed to be as big as Luke showing up at the end of the last one. So I can't think of anything that would be that big besides Mace.
Yeah. I can't either.
If
Let's take
anybody
the
can, let me
Chewbacca.
know.
Let's just Chewbacca or C-3PO. I don't know. But Mace would be
I
the
mean,
appropriate.
can't see it. That wouldn't be as iconic as Luke, though.
Nah,
It wouldn't be as impactful anyway.
Or
But
Ahsoka. Maybe Ahsoka might get an episode or she might show up again.
but yeah, she already was in Mando. She was in the last season.
Mm.
Yeah, she was already in it.
Mhm.
This is definitely someone new, and the third season will also see the Empire continue to grow in the wake of their defeat in the last in episode Return of the Jedi with it's like a shadowy organization at this point that's sort of gaining power behind the scenes that if you subscribe to the canon of the sequel trilogy, this is who becomes the new order. But
You read the books, right?
which books? I've read a lot of Star Wars
Well,
books.
yeah, like you read a lot of the Star Wars books, like a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff
Mm-hmm.
that they put out there. Because I was talking to some of the Star Wars nerds I work with,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one guy in particular I talked to a lot. He said that the First Order, he said that, and Star Killer Base is something they borrowed. Like Kathleen Kennedy says that she wasn't going to use anything from any of the books. None of that was canon.
Yeah.
None of it. and he tells me that in one of the books he read that Star Killer Base is a play on a structure that they had in one of the books, and so in the First Order is also something that was in one of the books, but they just kind of twisted it a little bit, made it something different. Is that true?
Mm-mm. No, the First Order is definitely from the sequel trilogy. The Star Killer base, as far as I know, is only from um it wasn't a giant Death Star, but it was a place called Star Killer Base. So yeah, they use that name, that terminology. But but as far as her saying, and you know, with her saying that, you know, none of the legend stuff was canon, basically what she meant was that the whole you know, the legend storyline isn't going to be canon, but they've been bringing a ton of stuff from legends in to the canon. So stuff from legends is coming into canon, you know, things like, you know, just certain terminologies or items or people or events or whatever, but just not the whole story as a whole. But they've been bringing a lot of legends content in, especially everything with Dave Filoni and Favreau. They've been using a lot of legend stuff. So you know, I'm still hopeful that we'll get some good legends content still to come, especially if the right people get in charge, you know, and as long as Filoni's there and shit like that. But the Empire or the Empire, the producer guy said he said there's certainly something that Tiva has been having an ear to in terms of what the Empire may be up to. So yeah, I think we will see some of that throughout the season. For now, we know that Moff Gideon has been taken away, but the larger forces of what might be out there as the remnant empire still exist. Something that hangs over some of this season is the question of what that element might be. And there are things going on that our characters may not be aware of, but certainly Tiva has some inkling about.
Mm.
And so basically, like Moff Gideon is now, you know, out of the pic. Well, he's not out of the picture. He's still definitely a big part of it, but he's not running things. And so the question is like, who's running things now, and who's the, you know, the big bad that's behind everything now? Is it Snoke? That's what it could be Kylo Ren. It could be something to that effect. I don't think Kylo is old enough yet. No, it could be Snoke. So something to that effect. This is what they're talking about. So because they do unfortunately still intend to adapt or evolve the sequel trilogy shit, you know, Rey, Finn, that whole thing, Snoke,
Right.
that whole the Emperor and all of that, like that, Exegol and the Sith Wayfinder. They're building on all of that shit with books and comics and further, you know, stuff down the line. So, you know, they're building off all of that, so it's all possible. But the yeah, so yeah, so that'll start Wednesday. But there's a lot of like little interviews and shit going on, like about Mandalorian, that like Pedro Pascal, the guy that plays Mandalorian, is explaining the relationship between the man and Bo-Katan in season 3. Because when we last saw Din Djarin with Bo-Katan in season 2, the finale, things were pretty tense between them, to say the least. You know, Din had acquired the dark saber from Moff Gideon, which was an item that Bo-Katan had. You know, she had it, and Moff Gideon beat her and took it. So she had been hunting him to be able to beat him and take it back. And before she was able to do that, Mando had to do it. He wasn't like trying to get the dark saber or anything. He just was protecting Grogu and disarmed him and whatever. But because Bo-Katan had been passionately pursuing the saber, and now this guy has it who doesn't really even wasn't even trying to get it. But Din is still a traditionalist, and he still believes in the ceremonies and the ways and all that. So he can't just give it to he tried to give it to her, but when they said, it's got to be earned through combat, and he's like, okay, well, I guess beat me if you can. But uh but yeah, so he recently had been saying he recalled like how his character isn't very thrilled with the situation, and as he hopes he wants to get rid of the weapon that he earned, but he doesn't want to just give it away because he wants it to be permanently gone. He doesn't want anyone to question it. He wants it to be out of his possession with no like residual anything. So, which is, it's a task more easily said than done. And, surely seeing the tension of that episode extending. And so he said, I mean, there wasn't really a fallout necessarily, sort of kind of an accident, Din picked it up and is desperate to give it back to her, but it has to be earned in a very specific way. And I think that what I'm most excited about as far as season 3 is concerned is that we get to see Katie is the stuff what we get to see Katie Sackhoff do. And after being a compelling figure in the Clone Wars and other animated shit, Bo-Katan uh, first appeared in live action in season 2 in Mandalorian, and which saw the voice actor Sackhoff getting the chance to bring the figure, to life, because she's the woman that's playing Bo-Katan in the show is also the voice actor for the character in the Clone Wars animated show. She's actually playing the character. And, you know, she's of course, very excited about all that. And she said, I lived in this woman's skin for a long time now. One of the things that John Favreau and I focus on is where she is in the moment and what peppers her experience. John and Rick every single day defer to me, which is a crazy experience to have these masters asking me what I feel the character should do. And as far as, as far as making the jump to live action, she expressed, how her collaborators respect the craft and the years that she's put in, and I really do know her pain is my pain, and what she experiences something I really feel it, and these kinds of things. And I liked hearing this, is why I'm saying, because I really was not a fan of her or her character. Like, I was not a fan. I was like, oh, here we go with this. But nah, she's real with it. Like, she's really into it. She really really believes in it, and she's got passion for the project, and that's all I ask for. In an actor and a writer, is that you have passion for the content. You really love it, and you're gonna put everything into it. And this season is described. They said the journeys of the Mandalorian through the Star Wars galaxy continue. Once a lone bounty hunter, Din Djarin has reunited with Grogu. Meanwhile, the New Republic struggles to lead the galaxy from its dark history. The Mandalorian will cross paths with old allies and make new enemies as he and Grogu continue their journey together. Sorry, I'm just reading something.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, according to John Favreau, season 4 has already been written. And
wow.
they've already written season 4. He said
I'll be honest. I'm gonna
he
be
said
honest with you, Reno. I think they owe us that, man. I really do.
yeah,
Because they
yeah.
took so long to bring us season
Mhm.
3, and then
Yep.
we had the controversy with what's her name, Gina, whatever her name was.
Carano, yeah, Gina
The
Carano.
Toronto, we had this situation with that, and we had the Kathleen Kennedy stuff. Favreau was about to leave, from what I heard. I mean, they got to get the ball rolling, and this is Star Wars, man. Like, you should have a plan for Star Wars. When you bought Disney, you should have had a plan for Star. I mean, when Disney bought LucasArts, they should have had a plan for Star Wars. Period, point blank.
Yeah, they
End
should have
discussion.
had a
Video games, everything.
and they should have involved George Lucas more, but
Yeah, they should have. Yeah, they should. They
I
really
mean,
should have.
they really thought that they could just buy the IP and make content about lightsabers, and that's all it was. Like they had no fucking clue how deep it was and what all was involved. They just thought, oh, we're just buying like these characters and then we can make stuff with the characters. Nope, it's not like that. Not at all. It's not like Marvel or Sony, buying the Spider-Man character. I can make all these movies with Spider-Man. Just buying Star Wars, you can't just make a bunch of random movies with Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. And so you want to
Right.
make up these new shit.
All right.
It's like,
Think you're gonna sell some toys, and that's gonna be it. No,
right.
that's not how it goes. But Disney. I remember when Disney. Do you ever have the Disney Infinity? Like you remember
Mhm.
how Disney came out with that? It was a great idea, and everybody was
Yep.
ready to get behind it and support it. And then they got greedy, and every year they came out with a new version. So you had about a whole new version of the game, and then you had to get a whole new stand and all. I thought that was lame because people invested in that every year. They were already investing in the figurines and everything. And Disney once again dropped the ball on the merch and did us dirty. Yeah, I got a box of them
Disney.
too.
Yeah.
I don't have as many. I think I traded a lot of them in, but I still got some left over.
Mhm. Try to get all them
Yeah,
shits.
because they were jumping on the Skylanders. Yeah, they were jumping on the Skylanders bandwagon.
That's what it is. I got a box full of Skylanders and Disney Infinity. That's all Blaze was into. My son was into that. It's all we was buying, so we just bought everything.
Yeah, my
And I
youngest
was
was
like,
into
damn,
those.
they just stopped making the shit. It's crazy. Invested all this shit, and then they
I
stopped.
know
They didn't make the last
you know
one.
what it was? It was Yep, it was the disc. They kept bringing. It was a new disc every year. Instead of just bringing out like an update for like 10, $20, you had to buy a whole new. You had to get a whole new disc to use the new characters, and they charged you a whole nother 50, $60. And everybody was pissed about that. It was like, damn, I just bought this joint last year, and now I can't use it. But you
Yeah,
can use the old characters on the new stuff, but couldn't use the new characters on the old stuff. That made no sense.
right. No sense at all. And yes, Star Killer. Yeah, Luke. So Luke was actually called Luke Starkiller, not Luke Skywalker
Yeah, that
in
was
the
his. Yes.
original script.
You, I seen a thing on YouTube the other day. They were talking about the making of Star Wars, and they said that in the original script and they were reading it. Somebody had, I mean, they see it's somewhere you can look at it. But they were reading, and they were saying that in the original script, George Lucas intended for everybody to have lightsabers. Like that wasn't a Jedi only thing.
Mm,
Like they
right.
said that there's
Right.
artwork, yeah, and everything was
Like
stormtroopers and
everybody
like
had like a
he had
rapier or something. Yeah.
right. Like he said like he intended for people to just run out of ammo when they were shooting. They would just pull out their lightsabers and just start fighting each other.
Right.
And I don't know, somewhere along the way, he said it just changed and it just became a Jedi exclusive thing. And he
Mhm.
said, they glad they made the decision to change it because it made it
Yeah.
more iconic.
So much better. So much better
Yeah, and they were
to make
called.
a
They
Jedi
weren't
weapon.
called lightsabers. I think he said they weren't called lightsabers. They said they were called beam swords or something like that. Either beam
Laser
swords or beam
sword.
sabers, laser
Oh
swords,
yeah.
something like.
Laser
They weren't
sword.
lightsaber. It wasn't lightsaber.
Yeah.
They had a different
Yeah.
name for it.
Yeah. Thrawn is coming. Yeah, no, Thrawn is coming. So I expect to see Thrawn in the Ahsoka show, not
Yeah,
Mandalorian,
definitely.
but
Yeah,
yeah, she'll definitely be in Ahsoka. I don't. I hope that that's not the character they're talking about for the iconic character because we already kind of know we're getting
with
him
Ezra.
for Ahsoka and Ezra. him and Ezra
Well, Ezra
have
been
to be for the Ahsoka show because Ahsoka basically ended off in Rebels. She's looking for Ezra and Thrawn both. That's sort of what mission she's on. So I hope that they stick, those characters to that show, and I hope that we get, Mace Windu or something cool like that. That'd be fucking dope. If there's gonna be a Mandalorian game, I haven't heard of one yet.
oh,
A
I damn sure
Mandalorian
hope
video
so.
game, but that
I
would be
damn sure. I will tell you, I will
it's
tell you a game
weird
that
though.
they did make. I'll tell you a game they did make and we never got. There actually was a Darth Maul game. They actually made a game
Mm,
with Darth Maul and we never
damn.
got it. Um, they canceled it, and a lot of people that worked at Lucas Studio in the video game department a few years back were trying to rally for them to just put it out, as is,
Mhm.
because they said the game was pretty much done. It just needed like some
Yeah.
small tweaking, but it was done. And they even had like pictures and videos of it. Game Informer did a giant write up on it, and it sounded dope the way they said like you run around as Darth Maul, and it was great, bro. I wanted to
Damn.
play it, but sadly, we'll never get to see it. We'll never get to see the light of day.
Damn. Yeah, that would be sick.
I
I would
know.
love that shit.
I
Fuck
know. They
yeah.
said it was like a. They said it was kind of like a side scroller, like a 3D side scroller,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
the Game Informer people said that when they saw it, they actually saw it. They said it was something they would have wanted to play, but they
Mhm.
said you couldn't play it. They let you see it, but you couldn't play it, and that was it. I was like, damn. I was like, that would have been great, man,
Hell
because we
yeah.
don't have a lot of Star Wars games that are good that we can play.
No, we don't.
But,
No, we
yeah.
do not. And speaking of that, we have this the Star Wars Jedi, what do you call it, Survivor, the sequel to to Jedi Fallen Order. And that's coming. So that's and that shit is looking amazing. And another cool
Yeah.
thing for you lore completists and lovers of mythology, the the game only tells so much of the story, and the saga of Cal Kestis is going to be also expanding into the Star Wars novel line with a new book called Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars, and written by Sam Maggs, and the book's going to bridge the gap between the two games and chronicle another adventure for Cal and the crew of the Stinger Mantis. And when Cal and friends encounter an Imperial stormtrooper looking to defect, they catch wind of a powerful weapon that could deal a major blow to the Empire. And the only catch is that pursuing this mission will once again, put them in the crosshairs of the Sith Inquisitors again, and the fifth brother, is definitely itching for a fight. And IGN can debut an exclusive excerpt for the book Battle Scars, as we see Marin's point of
Mhm.
view as she has an unexpected encounter with the stormtrooper in question, and it's like a little chunk of the book here, and it says it says with the exception of disappearing, which thankfully still came easy to her, Marin didn't need to use her magic to destroy these Imperial soldiers. They managed to do that job just fine on their own. Even with the difficulties Marin had been having with her power as of late, her frustrating inability to access them, so frustrating Marin could barely even think about it, killing Imperials was still satisfying. She wasn't picky. Magicking them to their death was very funny, yes, but a blaster bolt to the helmet worked just as well sometimes. Today, though, she kept them guessing, blinking in and out of the sight, and the second they got a lock on her, sending them walking off cliffs and shooting each other in the back. She knew Cal would eliminate the remaining bounty hunters, and she'd seen him in action enough times to know that the man knew how to handle his lightsaber, but she was grateful he left the troopers to her. And it kind of sounds like she's almost like a dark Jedi, or someone definitely going to the dark side, but doesn't really have training from a Jedi because she calls it magicking and using her magics. So she doesn't even kind of understand what her force sensibility, where her powers come from or what it is, or that's what I'm getting from that. It does like she doesn't have any training and stuff. And it says, yes, Marin was glad that she finally got to do something useful on this trip out to the middle of nowhere. Not that destroying this base wouldn't be useful to the Mantis crew in general, but Marin generally found that these side trips felt like distractions from the main event, from bringing down the people who had brought down her people, or as close as could come to that these days. She was still grateful to be useful, and she was also grateful that she didn't have to crawl on her stomach all the way back to the exit. And this is like a
She kept them guessing, or as close as she could come to that these days.
oh, it's an audio.
Hot and molten. Their
Oh,
magic
it's an
was
audiobook.
anything.
Yeah, it's a whole audio excerpt of it. But I don't think you guys can hear it, but it's really dope. It's talking about Dathomir, talking about Darth Maul, the dark, the witches and all of that shit. And it says every death another opportunity. It says there were times when Marin fought the Empire when all she felt was Dathomir. Its red skies and dark energy, sustaining and motivating, and more than anything, raw with potential. Her sisters, all the witch clans united under Mother. Okay, so she's a witch. She's one of the Night Sisters. But not just, but she's kicking it with Kestis and them. So it's like she's on some Jedi shit too, or some Sith. Okay, yeah, it says her mother Talzin, before she became a Sith. Okay, she turned to the Sith. The verdant marshlands covered in red mists where Marin had grown up, always knowing the danger inherent in the loveliness. The chirodactyls floating lazily on the hot winds overhead, their cries waking her in the morning when the red sun first crested over the mountaintops. The clear, rejuvenating water of life, created with her own hands, with the world around her, which all the Night Sisters were initiated. A world so strong and so beautiful and so terrifying all at the same time. The ichor that flowed through Dathomir's core had flowed through her veins, hot and molten. Their magic was more powerful than anything the Sith had to offer. I wonder why they separated any and thing. Okay, so, but it did not last, and now, in each stormtrooper's pathetic little helmet, Marin saw reflected the stark white face of another, golden eyes in a mechanical shell, too many arms, too many lightsabers, leading far, far too many troops into the battle for the soul of Dathomir. General Grievous. Airstrikes, assault tanks, the forest burned, Marin's sisters fell. Not even the army of the dead could hold them back. Marin was lucky to have survived, lucky and very, very good, or she had been once. And now she would not stop until the people responsible for Dathomir's destruction lay charred at her feet. I love that. Yeah, this is one of them books I'm gonna read. Yeah, and it's a nice little chunk they give you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we need more stories like Kyle Kestis. I mean,
Yeah.
you got so much lore and so many things you can do, so many stories you can tell from Star Wars. Disney, it's like Disney drops the ball on it. They just don't focus on it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Don't
You
make no
could do
sense.
so much with it. So
Yeah.
we could get the one
Marvel
everybody's
too.
been asking for. Yeah, Shadows of the Empire. Everybody always asks about Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
We got nothing.
Yeah. And what you call it? Another, so also Mandalorian season 3 might be dipping a little more into Star Wars Legends continuity again, to canonize elements from Knights of the Old Republic, the video game, Coder, because the hit series is finally returning to Disney Plus, as we've been waiting on March 1st. It'll focus on Din Djarin redeeming himself, on Mandalore for breaking, the rule of taking his helmet off. But along the way, the season will steadily reveal Grogu's history that we've never gotten to learn much about, including whoever saved him from Order 66, which I think was Mace Windu. That's what I think.
Mm.
But this series can follow in its
I think it was. I
contemporaries'
think it was the
footsteps.
librarian. I think it was the librarian that got him.
That's another. I
Scooped
mean,
him
that's
out.
another good theory. That's another good theory. But I don't know. I can't see them anticipate. The librarian being this big, exciting, iconic moment like Luke Skywalker, the librarian. I don't think people would be too excited. But you could be right.
What if it was? What if it was Kyle Kestis? What if Kyle got him out
That'd be something.
and then went his
That'd be
way?
that'd be a great way to tie it all together. But I'm not sure where the timeline fits. I'd have to figure out the timelines there. I don't know where Cal is during this time, um so the canonizing elements they've been lost to the Legends continuity, specifically this video game Knights of the Old Republic is a very favorable conduit to relevant content that Disney, again lacks to utilize. But the trailer, that we saw for Mandalorian season 3 shows Din grabbing an old dusty Mandalorian helmet, and the appearance sort of suggests that this could be, I think, Mandalore's mask. I think that it's either Mandalore's mask or it's just happens to be some remnants from the genocide or whatever. But in the game, that's where I learned all about the Mandalorians, was from Knights of the Old Republic, because they go deep into the whole mythology of it. We learn all about Mandalore. We learn all about, okay, so Mandalore is what they call their leader. It's also the name of their planet. And,
Yes.
they're Mandalorian because their leader's Mandalore. So it was significantly affiliated with the title of the Mandalore, or Mandalore, spelled with an apostrophe and all weird. But the ruler of the Mandalorians, was this guy. And so one of them, there was always a succession of rulers. And one of them was Mandalore the Great, who led the Mandalorians against the Jedi, according to the Armorer. And another would be Tare Vizsla, was the first Mandalorian Jedi and the creator of the Darksaber. And, Din finding Mandalore's mask in the ruins of planet Mandalore as part of his atonement would easily adhere to its history in Legends continuity. Because all this stuff that they're talking about, going to Mandalore and Mandalore and all that stuff is from Legends. That's why I said, like, they might have said that Legends wasn't canon, but they just mean the storyline. They don't mean stuff from Legends or stuff that we, ancient lore and stuff like that. They're still using that kind of stuff. Yeah. And, rightfully so, but it was passed down from one Mandalore to the next. The helmet, not talking about the Darksaber, the helmet is passed down in Legends. We hear a lot about the mask of Mandalore and all of that. And instead of the Darksaber, it's the helmet of Mandalore that gives you the right to be the leader of Mandalorians. And the last known bearer was Canderous Ordo in Knights of the Old Republic, after which it was lost to time and Legends. By uncovering Mandalore's mask in the show, Din Djarin would be continuing his journey towards leadership. And, were the Mandalorian show to canonize Mandalore's mask, it would have massive implications for, the unfolding narrative. And logically, it would act like a crown and signifying the true leader of Mandalore. Currently the Darksaber has operated basically like the helmet does throughout Clone Wars and Rebels and the show Mandalorian so far. And overall, this would play right into what, many are expecting in this season, which is a Mandalorian civil war. That's kind of what I think is what, the big overarching deal this season is going to be about, is the Mandalorian Civil War. And, because currently, we know the conflict between Din and Bo-Katan, and who came to be the next Mandalore when she claimed it, the dark saber in Rebels. But of course, she ended up failing to prevent the Empire's genocide of Mandalore in the Night of a Thousand Tears, and that's when the ancient weapon is, taken by Moff Gideon. Intriguingly, the real Civil War could see those two team up after setting aside their differences to oppose the armor and Paz Vizsla, and the descendant of Tari Vizsla. Because remember, so the the big guy that was with the armor that fights Din Djarin for the dark saber and loses, is still rocking with the armorer, and that whole underground clique. They might have been the only two left, I think, and he's still seeking to get the dark saber. Paz Vizsla still wants to get it because it's his ancestor is Tare Vizsla, the Mandalorian Jedi who basically, created the whole dark saber deal. And that's this guy.
Mm.
This guy from the show, the big guy that he always
Yeah.
pops up. Yeah, so that guy who he fought at the end, that's Paz Vizsla, and that's the guy that I think will probably, I think Bo-Katan and Din Djarin will probably team up against him and the armorer and that whole clique. That's probably what's going to happen. So yeah, watch for that. But Mandalore's Mask is not. This is not the first Knights of the Old Republic references, because Andor had them too. All right, Andor had a couple Old Republic references by the way of, like, the antique shop that Luthen had as his cover, had all those artifacts and shit, and some of that stuff was directly from Legends novels and nowhere else. And the you know the video game series, Knights of the Old Republic was definitely among the most popular content that was decanonized when Disney, acquired Lucasfilm and said, Legends are no longer canon. That's one of the bigger items, and Star Wars has steadily reincorporated key elements into the canon. Rebels and Andor have included references to the Rakata and their infinite empire. And again, if you didn't read the books, you don't know who the Rakata are, but the Rakata is an alien species that ruled the galaxy. I mean, with pure violence and pure, just iron fist. And they're integral to the Jedi getting the Force and the Sith and the whole thing. Like they helped start the Jedi. I mean, there's a whole set of comic books, Tales of the Jedi and all of that, where it shows like where it takes you back to before they were called Jedi, they were called Jedi, JED apostrophe AII. And yeah, and they were and they originally didn't have lightsabers until the Rakata. So the first lightsabers were not powered by, the same way that lightsabers are powered. You had to power them by the dark side. Like, you had to use the dark side of the Force to light up your lightsaber, because the Rakata just like use the dark side. That's all. They were all about the dark side. They used the dark side way, like, way before the Sith and all of that. And they had these sabers and shit, and you had to use the dark side to activate the lightsaber. And so Jedis couldn't really use them without dabbling in the dark side, or like giving into their anger or hate or fear or whatever to power them. And so they created these other lightsabers where they had like this battery pack on their belt, and there was like a wire, like a cord going to the the bottom of the handle of the lightsaber, and that sort of powered the lightsaber. And so there's been like all these, and this is like ancient times, and all that shit is talked about, and the Rakata are not in anything else. They're just in Legends, and in the Bad Batch season 2, they also showed ancient history from long before the formation of the Republic or the Jedi Order, subtly expanding on Andor's Rakata Easter egg. And because Andor had this dope Easter egg, um, which was a straight up nod to the Rakata, and in the events of the Knights of the Old Republic game, you know, are incredibly important to Mandalorian history. Mandalorians aren't really explored in any Star Wars content. They're not explored in any of the movies or anything like that. And it's all from this game. It's all from Knights of the Old Republic, and then, later into novels and shit. And with the mask that we see in that trailer, if that ends up being Mandalore's mask, even if they don't even if it doesn't hold the same, power or relevance that it did in Legends, it would still be a nod to that Legends, canon. And aptly one such character is Revan, um, you know, who wore Mandalore's mask. So if you know Darth Revan, and technically he was canonized when Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker named part of the Sith ethereal fleet after him. So if you remember Rise of Skywalker and the end of the sequel trilogy, they named part of the Sith fleet after Revan. And we also got the voice of a Legends character at the end of that shit too. And his Revan, his lore is still, very much part of Legends continuity. But unfortunately, his place might not be in the Mandalorian, but we might see him in something like the Sith centric series, The Acolyte, um, which could definitely, which would be a great place to integrate him. Only I have no real faith that show is going to do anything but push Kathleen Kennedy's feminist agenda. That's all that show is for. So that's probably all it's going to be good for. Probably won't have much great lore or anything like that. But regardless, it does go to show that, the vast potential of Mandalore's mask would do for the show and everything, and then bringing back that Legends content that we so desperately need. Yeah.
Yeah, we do need that. We really do.
Yeah, for sure.
I just can't wait, man. Just can't wait. And we get Ahsoka what, this year or next year?
Yeah, that's this year, I think. Yeah. Yeah, this year's full of stuff. And yeah, Slade, man, yeah, one more of those bombs and you can need more of that shit. Spamming. The Ahsoka show. Yeah, I think that's this year. Yeah, it's this year. No date. It's just sometime this year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a rumor, not a rumor, but Netflix.
Late.
I was reading an article. Oh, late. I was reading an article that Warner Brothers sold DC properties, some of their DC properties to Netflix, which means we might get another Man of Steel.
Yeah,
or something.
There is something to that. I heard that too. I also heard that some of the fans are talking about suing Warner Brothers for the false advertising of putting Cavill in the after credit scene of Black Adam. because it got a. They said you put that in there and you knew you weren't going to use him, and that's you used us and you used him. We want
Preyed on us. Huh?
yeah, yeah. Some of the tweets saying something like, "Someone recently sued a movie studio for a misleading movie trailer. I think it's time to sue Warner Brothers and James Gunn for misleading end of Black Adam and having Cavill announce his return only to get rid of him. They used him and us." And another guy said, "The studio used him and us. It's time for a lawsuit." It's crazy.
I don't get where. I remember they were suing. Somebody actually sued a movie. The movie. I don't know if it was UA or whatever, but they sued them for misleading the movie times. Um,
Mm,
you know how they would show so many previews. Like you would go to movies and they show like 9 previews, and then you watch the movie. Well, somebody sued
right,
for that, and they were like, "Look, it's not like you saying the movie's supposed to start at 5, but then I
right,
watched like 15 minutes worth of previews, and the movie started at 5:45. That's
right.
false advertising." And won.
Mm,
I said, "Damn,
yeah. Wow.
no,
They won, but it didn't change anything.
nah, it
They
didn't
still
change
doing
nothing.
it.
It didn't
Yeah.
change it. They still doing them, but
What,
they
they
Shut
will
still
let
up.
you know
putting out
now
trailers?
that there's 15 minutes worth of previews."
Oh yeah, talking about somebody sued because the trailers were included in the runtime of the movie, and they felt that that was false advertisement or false.
Um,
Because
yeah,
we're
that's
talking about that because there's people on Twitter now talking about suing Warner Brothers for telling us that Cavill, for putting the after credit scene in Black Adam, knowing that he wasn't going to be in any further movies.
oof. Well, I don't know about
Uh,
suing, but it was a crappy
yeah,
thing to do. Like
definitely.
sue if like no, you could sue the MCU trailers because those are very misleading. They'll literally remove stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and
yeah.
I'm not talking like to avoid spoilers. I'm talking like Infinity
Hmm.
War taking the Hulk out of that one scene and he was
Oh
nowhere to
yeah,
be found. Like that,
yeah,
that's bad. Like sue for that. But
yeah. That was
for
bullshit.
Cavill, I don't know about that.
Yeah, and it's been months since they got rid of Cavill as Superman and slowly dismantled the Snyderverse, in hopes of starting fresh with James Gunn at the helm. But those plans are truly underway, and fans are still not over losing Cavill. People are still really pissed about it, really upset, just really getting. I mean, why get upset, man? Why make yourself mad? I don't let him have that much power over me, um,
I
personally.
mean,
But
it's Superman. Like Superman is just he's global. So
yeah,
whoever takes that mantle, like they're representing something bigger than themselves, and like to try and find someone to replace Cavill is really going to be tough. You had a
mhm,
quintessential Superman and wasted him for over a decade, so it's rough. It really is a sucky situation. So
yeah,
I get why people are pissed. I'm still upset, but it's just kind of like I don't know. What do you do?
right. What do you do? What are you gonna do? Um, oh, Stu, check out this joint. Hold on, let me get the thing up. Check that out. Wow, that
Yeah, that's the
Superman.
one. That's
Yeah,
Superman from War World. Yeah, the comic that was out
future
this summer.
state. Yeah, future state.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's like looks like from 300. Don't he look like Leonidas?
Yeah,
He look like yeah, look like Leonidas. Oh shit, Superman with a battle axe.
I like that
Superman
shield.
getting and the shield
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
shield.
I like the how he's got his logo on his chest with chains holding it on and shit. He's got it's like the
Hmm.
cape, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a dope design.
yeah, it is.
That joint is dope.
Yeah.
Now, apparently in the comic now, I think Mongo took. I think Batman's there now and Wonder Woman. But I don't think it's gonna go too far because I think storyline's drying up and they're gonna let that go.
Uh-oh.
It's really not. I mean, I've
Cut,
seen
cut,
it, but
cut.
I've never been interested in. Yeah, I never been interested in reading it. The last really good. And I read some good comics lately, but Supergirl's probably one of the best that I read in a long time. That was really good.
Did you read the
And
Tom King Supergirl?
no, I didn't read the Tom King. I have some. I have. I think I have a couple of them. I'm not. I gotta check because I bought at one point. I was buying them, and I was like, you know how you buy them, and you be like, I'm gonna read them, and then I kept buying more, and I was reading. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of backed up, man.
Yeah.
So right now I'm about to go on a comic buying strike until I catch up.
Mm,
Because I got a bunch of stuff I didn't read, man.
yeah. Yeah, you gotta catch
Yeah.
up. But yeah. You hear about Dilbert, the comic strip?
Yes. Oh
No, what
my
happened?
God.
What happened? Talk to me. What happened?
Clown ass. The creator had posted some video, and he's on there talking about like
This was on YouTube
white.
Live.
Yeah, he's like white people should get away from black people because black people are like a hate group and all this crazy shit. Like, and then he said something like he identified himself as black because he helped the black community, and so he identified as black until something happened, and now he doesn't identify as black anymore because it's a hate group.
Yeah, he's saying he advised all white people to get away from black people. He said he
Yeah.
lives in an area where there are few black people. He advised all white people to do the same. So it's just comical. It's like of all the groups, we're a hate group. All right, buddy. Somebody needs a
Yeah.
history book
Right.
immediately.
And
Mm-hmm.
I said something on the comment. Somebody was like something about black people behaving in a certain. I'm like, yeah, because white people have behaved so well in the past. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so he's citing this poll, like a poll that found that 79% of all the respondents agreed with the statement that black people can be racist too. Okay. But like, I don't know. Yeah, it was just he's like, it's okay to be white, and all this. Like, I guess he was feeling.
So threatened.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's like,
Oh,
because he said he'd been identifying as black because he likes to be on the winning team, and that he used to help the black community, and he said it turns out that nearly half of that team doesn't think I'm okay to be white. He said, I'm going back off from being helpful to black America because it didn't seem like it pays off. I get called a racist. That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help black Americans if you're white. It's over. Don't even think it's worth trying. I'm not saying start
goodbye.
a war or do anything bad or nothing like that. I'm just saying get away, just get away.
Deuces. See how far you'll get without leeching off us. Goodbye. We don't need
I
you
mean,
here.
yeah, bro. You're not gonna get far. And I guess the whatever publication or whatever that put Dilbert the comic strip cut him off. So no more
Yes.
Dilbert.
Say goodbye. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's funny, the dude kind of looks like Dilbert too.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. Let me show you a picture of this tool. Freaking tool. Here we go. Pop. Wait. Excuse me. executor.
Where is it? Why can't I find it?
There he is, Dilbert himself,
Mm,
Dillhole.
mm.
Oh boy.
Yeah, never ceases to amaze. But yeah,
I'm
I
just
mean,
not.
I
I'm just not
we
surprised anymore.
no, no, not at all. We Sada and I had realized because you left early today, and when we ended the show, we were like, "Oh shit, we forgot to talk about the game. We were going to talk about
Oh
Suicide Squad:
yes.
Kill the Justice League, the um the gameplay and whatnot
The
is
gameplay looks
everything fans
good.
feared it would be. People are saying that it's horrible. They're like it's like they're
Oh yeah.
saying it's
People are not excited for this game.
yeah, and
Oh
I'm really surprised because the trailer looked so good. Like it looked really good, but they're saying that it's like really remnant
yeah.
of the Avengers game. Way more,
Yep.
it's like not at all an Arkham
Once they
game, and it's supposed to
introduced
be
the loot stuff, it was
yeah,
over.
the loot boxes.
You
Yeah,
already
that's what
lost
they
them.
loot crates, right? And I don't know. They were comparing it to Destiny, and I don't know what's wrong with that though. Destiny's a good game, but I wouldn't say it like that's the problem. I would just say the problem is that it's supposed to be an Arkham game, and it's not an Arkham game. It's
Yeah, I
not
feel
anything
like for
like an
this
Arkham
kind
game.
of game, it should not
The story
relate to
is,
Destiny at all. Like it should just not at all. It
Yeah,
shouldn't even be on the same.
yeah.
Like Destiny's a completely different game. Like this type of
yeah,
game, it just shouldn't be like that.
mhm,
At all.
yeah,
Well, that's the
and
model now. Side of when you
yeah,
a lot of times video game culture and developers starting to become like Hollywood, so they see
mhm,
what's the hottest game, and then they try to emulate it the best they can without doing exactly the same thing, instead of being creative and coming up with something new. Uh, Bungie actually came up with the idea for Destiny. They wanted to be a shooter where you could earn things, and it just carries over for years and years and years.
Yeah.
mhm,
These companies keep trying to do these things, and it's just not working. Nobody wants loot boxes. Nobody wants pay to
yeah,
win. Nobody wants pay
Nobody.
gear. Nobody wants to grind for 50 hours to get gear. Like
Yeah.
and
that's
that's
the
the
thing.
thing.
It eats up a lot of time. Like we don't want to
Yeah,
do that. We don't want to waste our time on this character. And then we grind and grind and grind and grind and grind. And he's like, damn, I put like
Yeah.
500 hours in here and spent another $100 just to,
yeah,
and then you come out with deals. We don't want that. We don't want that. Give us a game that we can play that we love, something that we can progress in. Just give us some skins. Give us some $2 skins. We're good. We don't want to grind for
yeah,
nothing. We don't want to
yeah,
grind. We don't want to grind for a look that we want. You know.
yeah. Yeah, it shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to pay for extra shit and all of that. And it's if there's a solo campaign, I shouldn't have to be online to play that. And that's another thing people are complaining about. You have to be online even for the solo game because of all the bullshit that they're adding to it. And while we already knew that the Suicide Squad members wouldn't play like Batman in the Arkham games, a lot of people didn't expect the game to emphasize such familiar third-person shooter gameplay quite that much. Actually, the third-person shooter gameplay is part of the shock surrounding the trailer. It's more of the familiarity of the whole thing that is really throwing people for a loop. Because Rocksteady had previously established itself as a revolutionary studio that found new
Yes, they
ways to
did.
look at even established parts of game design. And like you were saying, Stu, they're not coming up with anything new. They're like jocking a thing. And maybe they thought that the Avengers game was going to be great or whatever, but that game has been trashed, relentlessly. Nobody likes that shit. And that's almost seems like that's what they were copying. First impressions being what they are, it honestly looks like Kill the Justice League could have been made by any number of modern developers. It doesn't give you the Rocksteady vibe. And, you know, while the
It
bullet
doesn't.
spongy, third person, vaguely open area world combat elements that we saw in that trailer caught a lot of fans off guard is actually the developer's breakdown of the game that followed the gameplay debut that is currently drawing the most shit from people. And peppered throughout the overview are words and phrases and ideas that a lot of Rocksteady fans didn't want to hear. For instance, like it turns out Justice League will feature such tired modern game design concepts as gear scores, basic RPG progression, looting, a ton of guns for every character, regardless of their core abilities.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, and all those concepts only strengthen fan fears that the game will not only feature more generic gameplay, but that it'll even share a few more ideas with those recent superhero games that like Gotham Knights and Marvel's Avengers that fans have revolted against, basically. And I think
The Gotham Knights failed because it literally just didn't live up to the hype. They told us one thing, gave us something else, and the progression system, although it is forgiving, it's just too repetitive.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do an open world game, and you're gonna have like a Grand Theft Auto type, you got to give us some variety. I mean, that's what we want. Even if it's not a lot, just give us something. Don't give us the same thing over and over, the same characters, or the same, like, you jump in, you fight, you earn this, and then it's so much. Nobody, like, looter shooters. The people that do them good, let them do that. Come up with something else. You could have gave us another. You could have gave us another Gotham Knights. Arkham Knights story. With those characters, like, you could have gave us another game like that, like.
Because this takes place in the Arkham universe, but the gameplay should have been more like an Arkham game. I mean, you could have done a Batman type combat with the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Is that? And I watched the thing the other day. It's actually, they said the story actually takes place after the last Arkham game. It's like a few years after. And I'm like,
right.
All right, but it's in Metropolis. And Brainiac has come to Metropolis, and I mean, I get it. They're like, Metropolis is more bright. It's that it doesn't rain like Gotham. It's not dark, and I was like, all right, we get that. But, we get that, but bro, you gotta do something better than that for us. I mean, a lot of people are gonna get this game. They're gonna rip this game apart.
Oh yeah,
when it
comes for
out,
sure.
and then
I can't wait.
I think the big.
She can't wait.
A lot of fans, like, the real knife in the back was the revelation that this game will feature a battle pass, like Fortnite, or an in-game store that you can pay money on, and other live service elements, meaning and you have to be online to play it. So if you don't have internet connection, you can't even play the game. And in fact, those
Suicide Squad kills the Justice League game. Like, that doesn't even sound right.
And it
to have a battle pass.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. These things that they're adding don't fit the game, and you can tell they're just. It's almost like just a shameless cash grab. It's like they're not even ashamed that they're just strictly doing this for the money, and there's no rhyme or reason behind it. With Destiny, the way it works makes sense, and it works for the game, and it's awesome. I mean, Destiny's a great game, but sadly, it seems like the Justice League is going to be. What you say?
No, I said I play a lot of Destiny. I can definitely vouch for you on that one. I play a lot of Destiny. I play a whole lot. Matter of fact, I can't tomorrow when the new DLC goes live, I'll be right there. Tear it up. So.
Yeah, it's dope, and like, I think this game is going to be the the latest in a string of what are called top tier, premium games that incorporate those kinds of microtransactions and monetary concepts that are really supposed to go for free to play titles. I mean, those microtransactions and stuff are for games that are free. Like, it's free to get the game, play it, and all of that, and that's how they make their money off the microtransactions. But if I got to pay $70 for the game, why do I also now have to pay for shit in the game? That's bullshit. And and they don't mention that in the trailer. We later
Oh no.
learned that. You always need to be online to play the game, and that makes it yet another modern game that is frustratingly requires an internet connection. Even if you're playing all by yourself. I think the first game that did that was Titanfall, and I was blown away. I was like, "What? Like you have to be online to play it?" Well, I don't even get that. Like some people are just playing video games because they ain't got no internet. Like what I'm saying? Like it just don't.
Right.
So, but hey, to be
You shouldn't have
entirely
to need
fair,
internet to play video games, man. I like certain games, yeah,
Ever.
but
And I mean, unless it's like,
like
certain kinds, right?
yeah, like if you want to play with your friends and shit, sure. But I should be a solo. There should be a solo campaign. There should be a way to play the game by yourself with no internet, always. So I don't like that, always. And I think like with Halo and other games like that, a lot of the big problem with a lot of modern battle passes is that they're pay to win. Like if I buy this better equipment, I'm going to be better at the game and more formidable. The only thing that you should be able to pay for is cosmetics, shit that makes you maybe look cooler, but you can't do anything that someone else didn't pay.
people. Thank you. People would love that. If you came out with Justice League Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, and you put like skins, like you had different skins for Deathstroke and King Shark or Harley, people would eat that up. They would buy that all day long.
Oh yeah.
And you didn't make it, and
All
it wasn't
day
a
long.
looter shooter. If it was just like they had an arena mode. Fortnite's
buying battle passes.
It's a looter, right?
Overwatch.
It's a looter shooter, but you can't pay to win. You can't pay to win.
You can't pay to win.
And Star Wars games started that. The EA started that with Star Wars.
Battlefront.
And they had Battlefront. And they had the loot boxes, and you could just knock off the loot boxes, go in the game, and be powerful. Like you had to earn Luke Skywalker to be Luke Skywalker. But you had these people that would go buy the battle. They go get the battle boxes. They pay like $20, get Luke Skywalker, and then they come in and they can use Luke. You like, yo, this Joker is Luke. He running around, using the Force. He throwing his lightsaber. Yeah, I had to grind for that, and he already in here tearing us up, getting mad kills. Like, no, that's not.
And then you got young kids, teenagers and shit like that. They're playing at home, and then you got some 40-year-old guy comes in and drops $300 because he don't care, and he, outdoes them. Crazy.
I know people that have done it.
Oh
I
yeah.
know people that have done it. I can't even lie and say I don't. I know a lot of people that have put. I know people put, $300 into a game. $200, and they play the game all the time. Listen, there's some serious dudes out there and girls. Some serious guys and girls out there.
Oh yeah. But battle passes. If a battle pass is in a game, the game should be designed to support the battle pass, and like with Call of Duty or shit like that. But I don't know. This game doesn't seem like it even makes sense. So it doesn't look good, man. If you're like me and you were really hyped for this game, this is a big letdown. And the truth of the matter is, I think that some fans need to give Rocksteady just a little more benefit of the doubt when it comes to what we've seen of the game so far, because we don't know yet. We're just guessing, but their track record speaks for itself, and there are key elements of the game that look like they could easily, rise above what some of the worst examples of those concepts that I previously mentioned. But some of the gear sets look interesting. The story elements are promising, and there's kind of a brute force meets Crackdown appeal to the game's co-op gameplay that looks like it could be a ton of fun. And there's a series of little gameplay, story, and design touches that you can find throughout those trailers that I think hint at a much better game than what fans are speculating out of what we've got. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say that this game guaranteed is gonna suck, but a lot of it's
we don't know
direction, but we don't know. We don't.
Yeah, we don't know until it comes. Now I do know what doesn't suck. Midnight Suns. Everybody I know that played Midnight Suns said they loved it.
Yeah, people are saying it's really good.
Yeah,
Nice.
everybody. I haven't. That's
That's
a
like a
turn-based.
turn-based
That's a
card game.
turn-based. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, yeah.
turn-based card. It's an RPG with the turn-based
Like
elements slash
it's like
card game.
playing like a card
But
game. It's
that,
like playing Magic kind of thing or Pokemon or something
yeah,
like that.
and that's
With
innovative. That's
right,
innovative because you mix three different genres to get this
right,
game, and you took the best elements from all three and made a whole new
right,
game. Like that right there, that's what people respect. That's what they want. We don't want
right.
the
And
same
me,
thing
like
all the time.
I don't like those games. Like I don't like um
Turn based.
strategy games or card games. Turn based is cool if it's an RPG, you know, like Final Fantasy or something like that. You know, turn based can be dope as fuck, like for sure. But I prefer, you know, real time combat, of course, over that. But the card game aspect, I was like, oh, this is gonna be lame as fuck. But it's not. It's
Yeah,
not. It's actually really cool.
card games are
Um,
pretty popular. They're really
they are.
popular.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, it's like Pokemon is like the biggest IP on the planet.
Yeah, I don't understand
Literally.
that either. I don't understand that, bro.
Literally. Yeah.
Let me tell you something, man.
Imaginations are
Pokemon.
strong.
Let me tell you something. Pokemon have been out
Mhm.
since I was in high school, man, or since I got out. Like it's been out since
Yeah.
like the early '90s,
Since I was a kid.
and I don't
Yeah.
since my kids were kids, since Blaze was a kid,
Mhm.
since Sada was a kid. Like it spanned generations, bro. And the joint is still going. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
just as strong now as it was when it came out.
Because they
Mhm.
adapted too. They adapted to the changing times with Pokemon Go. I mean, that was a crazy thing, but they did adapt and also stayed with the modern, not modern, but the cards. So they just, I don't know, they've kept it going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, kept it going ain't the word. They
Yeah.
really.
Oh.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed mostly because when you think about where Pokemon came from to where it is now, it's a global phenomenon. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Oh
Midnight
yeah.
Suns. Midnight Suns is good, Nori. It's a worldwide phenomenon. They got movies. Pikachu is every. I don't think there's anybody don't know who Pikachu is. It has grown. They had a cartoon, which I thought was so corny, but my kids loved it. They just ate it up. Um,
Let me
they got
blow y'all
games.
mind. Check this out. So this is the list of the biggest IPs on the planet. Okay, the whole planet, the biggest IP period is Pokemon. It's $77
Mm.
billion. The next one is Winnie the Pooh, then Mickey Mouse and Friends, then Star Wars. That's how Pokemon is 3 above Star Wars. Then it's Disney Princess, uh something I never heard. What Animanipan? I don't even know what this is from. Probably
Okay,
it's a
man.
Japanese. Marvel Cinematic Universe is the next one at 40 billion. And then after that, it's Harry Potter,
The Wizarding
then
World.
Call of Duty, then Transformers, then Batman, then Cars, Dungeon Fighter Online. That's crazy. Barbie, Hello Kitty, Looney Tunes, Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dora the Explorer, Pac-Man, Lion King, Avengers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Fist of the North Star, which shout out to Fist of the North Star manga, 14 billion, 1983. Fuck yeah. Toy Story, then James Bond, then Space Invaders, then Frozen, SpongeBob, Peanuts, Sailor Moon, Neon Genesis Evangelion, One Piece, Street
Shout
Fighter.
out to that. Shout out to
Yep.
that. You know,
Star Trek. Shout out to Star Trek.
1990s in the house.
Yep.
And Star Trek, I can't blame. Star Trek should be number one. I don't even know how it's down that far.
Ah.
We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that. We're going to keep moving. We'll keep on
Okay.
moving.
Keep it moving. We got Rikuma, Monster Strike, Thomas and Friends, Angry Birds, Sesame Street, Pretty Cure, Demon
Angry
Slayer.
Birds?
Yeah, Angry Birds. Isn't that some
The
shit?
Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah, Angry Birds
I like
was
Demon.
huge.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I was hooked on Angry Birds Transformers for a little bit.
Hell
See,
yeah.
see, like
Yeah. I got an Angry Birds Darth Vader over there. But yeah, Power Rangers, The Simpsons, Despicable Me, Pirates of the Caribbean, Ben 10, Ultra Series, Ultraman, Doraemon, Jurassic
hey,
Park,
Fast and Furious. My
Mario's way down here. That's crazy. Kumamon, Paw Patrol, Big Bang Theory, Halo, DC Extended Universe, way down here
oof,
at only
what a
6
blunder.
billion. Sheesh.
What a
Uh,
blunder.
Ice Age, Phantom of the Opera, then Middle Earth, Lord of the Rings, way down here. 1937, so that's pretty cool. Shrek. I'm surprised Shrek is this far down. Avatar, Friends, Gundam, Mortal Kombat, The Sims, Bob the Builder, My Little Pony, Beyblade, Seinfeld, Kamen Rider, Twilight, Minecraft, Hunger Games, Mission Impossible, Strawberry Shortcake. Listen, this list goes on. Here's
Wait,
G.I. Joe.
strawberry shortcake, bruh. I haven't seen.
Yeah,
My sisters used to love strawberry shortcake.
my
I haven't seen
sister
those
loved that
weird
shit.
looking. Bro, I haven't seen those weird dolls in years.
Bro, and they smelled like shit. Remember my sister
Straight,
had the
yeah,
little
they
smell like strawberries and one smell like blueberries. And
blueberries. Yeah, it was blueberry
weird.
muffin, strawberry shortcake.
Yeah.
They all were named after like pastries.
Yeah, yeah. And then I remember there was the purple pie man of Porcupine Peak. Oh shit.
Yo, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
Oh shit. Oh man.
And they had a cartoon.
Yeah, it was the cartoon that and like Starbright, I think was the other one that she liked. And She-Ra.
Starbright, yeah.
Yeah,
She-Ra,
Starbright,
yep.
She-Ra. But yeah, G.I. Joe is
Yes.
here. Scooby-Doo, Skylanders, Hamtaro, Terminator, Astro Boy, Powerpuff Girls, Winx, Indiana Jones, Care Bears, Men in Black, and we're only about halfway down. Oh no, okay, that's the all right. Guitar Hero, Lego, NBA Jam. So just to give you an idea, that's all the stuff we just named. At the top of that is fucking Pokemon. I mean, way at the top too. I'm surprised that Winnie the Pooh is second though. When do you ever hear about Winnie the Pooh? But I guess it's
All the
like a
time.
house. I
All the
guess.
time. He got books. He
Yeah,
got,
Yeah,
no,
don't
no
don't
doubt.
sleep on the books. Don't sleep
yeah,
on
don't
the
sleep on
books.
them.
All right,
Don't sleep
them
on them.
shits are
Sorry.
Don't sleep on Winnie. Don't sleep on Pooh Bear. Don't
My
sleep
bad.
on him.
But
Now the movie, not so much for Winnie the Pooh. No, no.
yeah. I'm a little surprised to see Star Wars up in this top bracket just with the way shit is now, but not really when you think about Star Wars overall box office, merchandise, home video, video games, book sales, TV revenue. I mean, they've got one of the longest lists of income streams than out of all these IPs. I think Star Wars has. They might have Harry Potter's got definitely the longest list.
I heard the
Box
Harry
office.
Potter game is
Oh, hang on,
worth
guys.
picking up as well.
All right, guys. Take over for me. I will be back as soon as I can. Someone just came to my door. I will. Be back.
Take your time.
We'll be here. Yeah, we'll
You
be
said
here.
the Harry Potter game?
Yeah, they said the Harry Potter game is that's that game. That's what I'm hearing. So
Yeah, I heard that too. I was looking at gameplay. It didn't look too shabby. I'm not a Harry Potter girl, so I'm good, but it looked good.
No, you don't.
It looked fun.
Ah. Well, I got some other news for you that might get you riled up a little bit.
Oh.
I read on Twitter that the head of DC Universe, James Gunn, has decided that Ezra Miller will continue to play the Flash in future films for now.
Now, is this for fact or is this like speculation?
That's the word in the street right now. That's the word in the street.
Oh, that's a dangerous word in the street right now. That is very dangerous. If that's true, then if that turns out to be true, I'm checking out, because like there's literally no benefit to keeping Ezra's Barry Allen. There's no benefit at all, actually. So I don't even know why. I don't even know why you would like. There's no benefit. I can't think. There's not one. Not one. Oh,
I think he wants to keep it consistent. I think that's the problem. I think he's afraid. Like we just saw with Black Panther, how they were highly afraid to recast T'Challa.
Right.
And I think He just doesn't want to recast him. And to be honest with you, I never heard him say anything about cutting, man. Like I never heard him say it. I know before he got there, they were talking about cutting, but I
Yeah,
think if they were gonna do it, they would have did it.
I don't know. I mean, that's bold because, like, this whole thing was supposed to be a reboot, and now all of a sudden you may be concerned about keeping things consistent. Like, get out of my face! Like, it's just like there's no we literally spent no time with Ezra's Barry Allen. Nobody likes Ezra's portrayal as Barry Allen. Like the menace stuff aside, nobody even likes their portrayal. So why are we doing this? Like, why keep this Barry Allen around that nobody likes? Oh.
No, nobody wants him as Flash, but I really don't think they're gonna do it. So I really don't think that
Yeah,
they're gonna
I wouldn't be surprised if they backed out because I feel like there's like more at play. They may be afraid of getting backlash from the community, which is just like BS because like I would hope the people in that community would hold Ezra accountable and they wouldn't be afraid of that. So it's just so stupid. But
I know, I know it hurts. I know it does.
ugh,
But
that's dumb.
I think that they don't want to recast for fear of just people just not digging the new Flash or whatever. And I think they want to try to keep it consistent, which I
Hey
don't
guys,
understand. I don't
That's
really
full
understand
of
that.
bull. That yeah, I don't get it either, Stu. I don't get it either.
hey, I'm sorry to interrupt y'all, but I'm not coming back. I have to go handle something,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's gonna take a while. I mean, if you guys are still here in like 30 minutes, I don't know. It's gonna take a while, but you guys can chop it up and close the show out, man. I'll see you guys Wednesday. Um,
Yes.
Yeah,
for Rule Wars Wednesday, we'll be chopping up the new Mandalorian and all that good stuff. So
will you still be all right?
yeah,
Yeah,
so I gotta go
we can
handle it.
try.
Got people outside. I gotta handle something. So I will be back as soon as I can. If I'm not, back, feel free to end the show. All right, y'all.
All right, peace. So yeah, I just think that recasting is not a bad thing. I think it's actually and nobody's ever like look. We It took them a long time to recast Superman when
It
Christopher
did.
Reeves passed, and they did. And I mean, we loved Christopher Reeves, uh, but sooner or later he's gonna grow old,
Right.
and when he does, we still got to recast. So I don't understand why if somebody passes or dies or goes crazy, why we can't recast him. I
Right.
don't get it.
I mean, because it's bigger than the actor, the character. Like T'Challa and Barry Allen's The Flash. Like I mean, people have literally seen Grant Gustin as the definitive Flash for almost a decade now. Like nobody even Ezra's barely a part of the conversation when talking about a live action Flash. So they should just recast. If we're gonna start fresh, then start fresh. In fact, let's not even do Barry. Let's do Wally West or something. Change it up. Like,
Yep,
no.
yep. That would be great, and you can do that. You can get that off. Um, but they won't do it because they are afraid of backlash, and you can't be. You just got to go with
Right.
it, whatever it is. Mm,
Just do what you gotta do. Backlash will come later, but eventually people will calm down and they'll be fine. That's what happens every single time. So they'll be fine. Now
mm,
Henry
they
Cavill,
will. They'll
I don't
be
know how fine they're gonna be, but most other things, people are fine.
wow. Now, do you think that the loss of Henry Cavill is going to be a hurt piece for this new series moving forward?
Yeah, I think it is gonna be a hurt. Yeah, and because it's like, okay, you got rid of Henry Cavill because you claim you wanted to start fresh, you wanted to do a reboot, you had a new plan. Okay, fine. That's a hurt because he was wasted for so long, but okay. But then it's coming out, oh, you're keeping this, you're keeping that, we're keeping, Gunn Suicide Squad, we're keeping Peacemaker, Waller, we're keeping basically all these other elements from what came before, except Henry Cavill's Superman. It just looks like there was an axe to grind, and people are already upset over Snyderverse. So, couple on that, Henry Cavill, which people have been fighting for so long, it's just like not, the optics are just really bad. And we're not really going to have anything to show for this decision for another 2 years, because that legacy film isn't coming out till like 2025. So I think it's going to hurt. It really is. Because like the way people loved Christopher Reeves is, similar to how people loved Henry Cavill. So yeah, I think it's going to hurt, because he just wasn't used to his fullest potential at all. So
yeah, you're on to something there. But do you think bringing in James Gunn was a good step for
I
DC?
think, yeah, I think it was a good step. I think it was a good step given the track record. I think I wish there was another person involved creatively, just because I'm afraid he might imprint his creative style over all of these projects, which I personally don't want. So I kind of just wish there was another person involved. But otherwise, I think it was a good step. I think it was a good step. It's clear that they're trying to emulate Marvel again. So we'll see what happens, but I think it was a good step that they brought in James Gunn.
Okay, I do too, because at the time they needed something.
Yeah, they
They
did.
needed
They really
direction,
did.
yeah. And they had none. They just had
Yeah.
nothing. It was nothing. No ideas, no nothing. Uh, it took The Rock to get him to actually kind of, me personally think, to realize that we need Cavill and we need a Superman film.
I
Um,
agree.
yeah, but they definitely put Superman on the shelf. So we'll
Oh,
see what happens.
yeah. I mean, The Rock, as much as I don't like his antics and what he did with Black Adam, he really did kind of shake the table a little bit. He kind of woke the people at WB up. Like, we need to have some type of plan here, because this is not going to work, what we're doing right now. So unfortunately, it didn't pan out for him in particular, but he did wake him up a little bit. So I got to give him props for that at the very least.
All right. Well, Richard Donner says that um, we're in the dark days in the movie business.
Mm.
He doesn't like any of the Marvel stuff. Um, he doesn't like any of the he didn't like. I don't think he likes Henry Cavill as Superman. And he's directed a lot of movies. He's directed he's done a lot, man. He's done Lethal Weapon,
Yeah.
Goonies. Uh, you know, he's done a lot, but he was quoted as saying before his death that we were in the dark days of movies. Like he was saying that the stuff that they're putting out now is just it's not good to him. And when you take it with if you take it with a grain of salt, you say, he's a director. He's directed some iconic movies. He's gave us some good stuff. I mean, should his opinion weigh heavily on the subject?
Mm, I think it could. I think it could weigh. I don't know about heavily, because he's just one person at the end of the day. And he gave us great movies and stuff, but ultimately he feels like the movies are of lower quality. I would agree to an extent. I think the movies that we're getting now, for the most part, are just of lower quality. So yeah, I think his opinion should weigh, considering he's in that business and he's created some movies in the past and stuff like that. I don't know how heavily though. I can't make that determination.
Right. Have you ever seen any of his movies? Have you watched?
Lethal. I think I've seen Lethal Weapon. I think
Wow.
I watched one of them, so I have seen
Oh,
Lethal Weapon, but that's about it. I think. Let me look.
what
Let
about
me look.
Goonies?
Oh yeah,
Assassin.
Goonies. Okay, yeah. I've seen the Goonies.
16 Blocks. He's done Assassin. The Toy. Toy was great with Richard Pryor. It's great. Great Richard Pryor. Free Willy. I know you've seen Free Willy. I
Okay,
know you
yes,
have.
I have seen Free Willy. I have
Okay.
seen Free
Yeah.
Willy. Okay,
Everybody likes
Rich
Free Willy. Everybody likes Free Willy.
Honor. Yeah, movies. See what have you done, sir? Yeah, okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, I saw the first Lethal Weapon, and then I've seen Goonies,
Okay.
and I have not seen The Toy.
Toy was great.
Um, it
That
was
was a great
good.
movie. You gotta watch it. Listen, I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care what nobody. You gotta sit down one day and just watch the Toy. It would be one of the best movies you ever saw in your life.
Oh, it's on HBO Max.
See,
Ooh.
boom! Look at that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll give it a shot tonight. Okay.
yeah. You going listen? You gonna be up? You gonna listen? You gonna be like, I'm so glad I watched that movie.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. Put that on my list. Let me see. There's that Richard Pryor. Da, da, da. Nice. Okay. I'll put that on my list.
Yeah, so you have to, and it's a good movie. It's just a good like they don't make uh movies like that anymore. And not saying that it's just like in a bad way, but it was a it wasn't a kid movie. It was sort of like a teen movie, like but
Yeah.
it wasn't like overly teen. Like you know what I mean? Like when you'd be like, oh
Yeah.
come on now, like or it just like teens you out, but it was good. And I think as an adult, a teen or a child, you would enjoy the movie because it's got a lot. It supports the five family guys, but it's a good one. So it's a damn good one.
Okay. I'll have to give it a shot. I mean, yeah, a lot of the like teen shows today are just like it's either like just it's one extreme or another. It's like too cliche or it's bordering softcore porn. So it's just kind of like I don't know who they're appealing to.
Right, that's too
Shows.
right. I say the same thing. I'm glad. I'm glad somebody your age can notice it because you would think that everybody like you would think parents just don't care. Like when we were coming up, like your dad and all of us and Reno, uh, like look, we couldn't watch nothing. They were like our parents were like, wait a minute, what is that? What are you watching? Turn that off. And now being a parent now, I see why. Like I see why they made us turn off a lot of stuff, and they didn't expose us to a lot of things. I genuinely see why. I would be mad. I'd be like, man, I want to see Conan, but no, you can't
Oh
watch
no. Yeah,
that. But
no,
I see
can't watch that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, but
and
there's like
not to
there's it's easier access these days than it was when you guys were coming up.
yeah.
You
Oh,
coming
it's
up and
much
you
more.
shut off the TV. That's it. You ain't seeing it.
We had to sneak and watch. Yeah, we had to sneak and watch some stuff, but we watched it. Yeah. Richard Donner also said he absolutely hated Henry Cavill's Man of Steel, and he blamed Zack Snyder
Oh
for
no.
deconstructing him into an extremely realistic version. Agree or disagree?
Ooh, because the thing is, I'm not a big fan of Man of Steel. I don't necessarily hate it. I guess I agree with not liking Zack Snyder's version and vision for Superman. It's just completely, it just feels so off the mark to me. But then it's also like, I wouldn't have mind if it started there, if we eventually got to the Superman that we know and love. But we never got that because after Batman v Superman, that was just kind of it for his story. So it's strange. I kind of agree, but at the same time, Cavill was just put on a shelf, and that Superman never evolved. So that's kind of what we were stuck with.
Right. He was quoted as saying, Donna was also quoted as saying that he said, I took a challenge that was very exciting for me. He said that he did it because essentially when he had read what they were doing with Superman, the original Superman with Christopher Reeve, he just felt like he had to step in and try to save what he felt was respectfully uh, an area for Superman. Like he
Yeah.
didn't want that. Like if you see James Gunn saying the movie's named Superman Legacy, he wanted Superman's legacy to be better than what they wrote and were going to put out. And he felt that if he stepped in and directed that movie, and it was, I can't lie, Superman 1 and 2, they were great. They they were the great. Those are the greatest, some of the greatest Superman hero movies of all time.
About
I don't know.
time.
Have you ever watched them? Have you ever watched the original, the ones with the Richard Donner ones?
Not fully through. I have seen bits and pieces. I have not watched it fully through. Never, ever. I should one day, but yeah, I've never watched it fully through. It's just crazy.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
no. Mm-mm. I've seen how it was made. Like I've seen literally everything about it, but just the actual movie.
Right. Because Donna was also quoted saying that his sole purpose for creating the movie was to successfully revive the fan favorite comic character. And that, he said he was also said that he decided that when they wanted to make uh this close to reality, like when you want to make when you decide to make something that close to reality, if it's set in like a sort of you have to set a precedent.
Right.
It wasn't he was saying that it wasn't his intent, which was strictly, it wasn't his intent to set a precedent of realism, but he was saying that it was it wasn't, that wasn't his intention, which was strictly he wanted to just make a good movie about a beloved character and treat him with the greatest respect. That's where he ended up in his mind. And when you say it set a precedent, he wish it was, retained. So like in English, basically he's saying that he just wished that everybody took what he did with that the level that he put Superman on in the two movies that he made, everybody else would have followed suit. Like they would have kept that, they would have kept that balance between realism and fantasy, fact and fiction, and
Right.
made a good movie, and not, play towards politics or anything like that, but just made a genuinely good movie. And Superman, the original Superman movie, is just that. Um, they show how he becomes, Superman. He finds the Fortress of Solitude, finds his ship. He makes the Fortress of Solitude. He comes back. He has his powers. He's working for the Daily Planet. Uh, and he finally exposes himself to the world. And when he does, people go crazy. And he's out there saving people. And then he finds Lois. And he knows that he loves her, but he can't tell he's Superman. And it was good. It was really good, especially the flying scene where he was flying with her, and she was talking, but she was like, can you read my mind? Like that's epic. That whole thing is epic.
Right.
That's just an epic scene. He didn't. He also said he didn't like the way Superman was portrayed in it or being treated, today, like in a very dark fashion. Um, he believes that he was a fantasy that really believed in truth, justice, in the American way, and he believed it, and he gave him an aura. Like I was
Yeah.
saying before, and if that line came as a joke, because some people did, look like, oh man, like when he at the end of the movie where he flew around the world and spun it backwards and made time go back, and then he
Uh,
flew back and made it turn back, you know, uh, he said if it came out as a joke, he said then they were foobarred, and they knew it. But he said until he had the first screening, in his mind, he said he was scared at the first screening. He said he was very scared, and he said we treated him as reality, but his reality, and it had to be good in our comparison, but at the same time, totally real to him, and it worked. So he basically was like, look, it had to be real to the fans, but also real to Superman as well. Like when you look at Batman 66, they kind of put it in realism, but it's still kind of a joke. And he said that's what he didn't want. He wanted it to work. He wanted to straddle the fence, and he felt that he did that. Superman 2 was great. Um, and he talks about how the stories are being told. He said he thinks that we're in the strange, dark days of movie making, and Superman, but Superman was a hero, and he was fantasy, but we believe in him. And he's not treated like that anymore. Uh, he said that he wasn't happy with it, but he had nothing to say about it. Agree or disagree?
Oh my god. Like I feel like dark evil Superman is interesting. But it just got played out. Like we would just see it all the time. And it was just yawn boring for me. So it's so much so that I feel like we were missing the Boy Scout. I missed the Boy Scout. Like there's something endearing about that, and we were kind of missing that. So hopefully they'll get back to it with this new DCU. They keep stressing it, but we'll see what happens. Because I do miss the Boy Scout from the animated series and the comics. I just kind of miss that a little bit.
No, that's true, and that's what Richard Donner was saying. He believed that that's what Superman stands for.
Yeah.
Truth, justice, the American way. And he's the ultimate good guy, and in his movies, that's how he treat him. And when you look at Man of Steel at the end, he kills Zod. Uh, you know, he threatens Zod. You're a monster. I'm going to stop you. Superman doesn't talk like that. I get it, but at the same time, the Man of Steel was based off of the comic book Man of Steel, and that comic book was
Yeah.
rooted in reality. Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't get that. They just
Right.
they just don't get that that's what it was. Like he wore, like in the comic, Superman wore a beard. In the movie, Superman wore a beard. It literally, was pulling a lot of stuff that it pulled from the comics. Just straight up. He had to pay rent, things like that. He had his own place. He wasn't always at the Fortress of Solitude. He had a place with Lois. He used to go to Lois's place all the time once she found that he was Superman. They didn't even dance around that. In the other comics, it took a while before he told her, but once he, they didn't dance around it, Man Still.
Yeah.
They went on
No,
dates.
I mean, before like the end of the film, she knew. Yeah.
Shazam 2, are you ready for it or not?
I'm like so indifferent to that movie. Kind of indifferent. So I guess I'm ready, but at the same time, I'm not gonna rush to go see it in theaters. The trailers didn't get me hyped the way I thought they would. So
Wow.
I just wanted to see him fight Black Adam.
Oh man, you think we'll get it?
Not in this movie. Maybe somewhere down the line, hopefully, but not in this sequel. No way.
Wow. That's what you call it? That's deep. Coming from you. Did you see the Reno sent me a picture earlier, Beast Boy from the Tom McFarlane.
Beast Boy. Oh no, they have the figure?
Yeah. He sent me a picture of it earlier. I checked it out, and Beast Boy looked quite impressive. He actually looked at like Beast Boy from the Future.
Oh my
Hero,
god, look at this beefcake. He is just whoa. Wow. Okay. I kind of dig it.
Yeah, people
Whoa,
asking for
you're
other
back.
figures.
Welcome
I made it.
back.
I made it quicker than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
We're just
Wow.
talking
We're
about
looking at
we're talking
Todd
about the Beast Boy
McFarlane.
picture. Yeah, the Beast Boy
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the
picture
new.
together.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if I can throw you guys one up on the screen.
Ooh. I
I
kind of
have
like
that.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a bigger one. It's like a
Yeah.
bigger. It's a gold. What do you call it? Gold label.
Ooh.
It's a gold label figure, which I get. It's not like a different size, but I guess they usually put a little more detail into them usually. Um, but this one I'm not seeing I'm not seeing the gold labelness of it. I don't know why it's a gold label, but this is him right here. It's pretty basic, not much to it. It's like a real simple
Yeah, I don't
suit.
see that. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see
Yeah,
it.
I don't know why it's gold label, but that's the gold label right there. Gold label collection.
Oh my god, I'm
I
looking
don't.
at a totally different one.
Oh, really?
Oh my god. Yeah, he's like he's a beast. And that's
Oh,
I'm looking at a totally different one from like 3 days ago. It looks like this came out. Maybe this is just like another version of it. Yeah, it looks like it's with the collection that you showed on the last show with Donna Troy, Nightwing, Raven, and them. He's included in that.
but that's what this one is supposed to be. So that's weird.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
weird.
this
It's
is
like
the
a
gold.
completely
Well, because maybe this is the gold
different.
label version. Maybe the other one's not gold label. Maybe that's why this is gold label because he's got a different suit on
Oh,
or something or whatever. Maybe I don't know.
Or
Maybe
yeah.
maybe the
somebody.
one is a builder. Maybe the one is a builder figure, and the other
Well,
one
that's
isn't.
yeah. I was thinking that too, but because I think the series that I was showing the other day, I was thinking the builder figure would be Beast Boy because he wasn't there and there was no builder figure. But
Yeah, the one you showed on the last show, he's that the one I'm looking at is included in that. Yeah, that one
wait, you
right
see this
there.
one here? Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one. That's the one I'm looking at.
This is a
That's
builder
the builder
figure.
one.
Yes, and you're
Okay.
right. So that's the builder figure, and yes, it is part of that same line.
Okay.
That I was showing you. They have this gold label Beast Boy. Is
Oh.
if you don't want to do the build a figure, you
Mhm.
could still get Beast Boy by getting this one, I guess.
Okay, got it. I like
But
that
this,
one more.
yeah, this one's got the cool. He's all beasted out. That's awesome.
Yeah, that looks great. I
But
really like that.
yeah. That's definitely cool. Oh well, y'all. Ah, shit. I just sold my Beamer.
Whoa.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, boy. Some people just got all the money. I mean, Beamers for sale.
Yeah. Trust me, I got raped.
Oh.
I got totally raped.
I wonder why it went so fast.
Yeah.
Wonder why the sale went so fast. The guy was like, "Let me get out of here before he changed his mind."
Word. But
it's just a car, man. You can always get another one.
The thing is, like, yeah, I'm not. I've made peace with it. I mean, I know you guys remember when I got that Beamer, I was all hype and shit, and it was like great, yeah. But at this point, it's just a headache with it's just a money pit, and I don't need that. I don't need money pits. I need money. So I was like, you know what? This guy's been hounding me for the car like for so long, ever since it broke down. He's come by. He's like, yo, when you gonna send me the Beamer? When you gonna send me the Beamer? And I kept putting it off. I kept, procrastinating. I didn't want to do it. And now I've got this CDL class. I'm getting my CDL. I'm gonna be a truck driver and all that shit. So I've got the CDL class next Monday. And there's a bunch of stuff I got to pay for. I got to pay for the physicals and the school and the CDL permits and all this kind of shit. It's a few $100 that I just didn't have at the moment. And I was like, you know what? Let me just let this guy buy this Beamer. That'll free me up some money, free me up some, give me some ability to take care of the shit I got to do and get that headache off my lawn. So I'm not even mad about it anymore. I'm not even salty.
Well, I'll tell you what. My father said it best. This might make you feel better. He said if the car costs more to drive or have than it does to keep it, then get rid of it. If it costs more
Mhm.
to have the car than not to have it, get rid of the car.
Right.
He always told me that. He always said that. He said, son, if a car costs
That's
more to
right.
keep it than to not have it, get rid of the car.
Oh yeah,
So,
he's
so
right.
if it
He's
was
right.
more for you, if it was more money for you to to keep it or keep it running or get on the road, then it would be for you to just
Yeah.
sell it and let it be somebody else's headache. You did the right thing.
Well, here's the
You can
thing.
always get
It's
a new Beamer, man.
when you're talking about blown head gaskets, that's a $5,000 job. Repairs. So
On the
I
Beamer,
was never gonna
yeah.
put on a Beamer. I was never gonna put 5 grand into that car because even if I had put the 5 grand in to get the head gasket, not brand new again. Keep in mind that's only a refurbishing or them fixing it, sort of. So it still is prone to fuck up, and that doesn't fix any of the other problems. Just the head gasket that was a result of other issues that would have then been a problem. So it wouldn't have just been the 5 grand. So it was not a car I was ever going to fix. So it was either it sits there on my lawn as a giant paperweight, or I sell it to this guy for next to nothing, and I got some money in my pocket. Fuck it.
Did the right thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Headlights
I mean, listen. Like you said, you wasn't listen.
on the wall.
If he's gonna get it fixed, then he can have it.
That's what I told him. I was like, I said, look, if you you know, here it's a Beamer. It's a 2009 Beamer, and for the price I'm selling it for, you can. It don't matter what's wrong with it. You're still winning. It don't matter what's wrong
Right.
with it. He's like, what's? I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't know what's wrong with it. It could be the head gasket. I'm not a mechanic. I haven't looked into it, but here's the evidence: the white water and the oil and the mixing and the whole thing. And I was like, here's what it is. So I was very upfront. Doesn't run. If you're buying this car, you're buying a project, something you're gonna have to put money into, which is why I'm selling it to you for so cheap. And he's like, yeah, man, let's do it. So
Oh well, then
back, fuck it.
I would have been smiling. I'd have been like, all right, let's get it done. Let's go.
Yeah.
Would you like something to drink? I was like, would you like a glass of lemonade?
The only reason
Let's just get it
no,
done.
the only reason I'm not super happy is I took a like he talked me way down, and I don't get talked down. Okay, this is
Right.
desperation. I'm just desperate because I need some money. I need some extra money right now. My landlord's giving me shit every day about the car being in the yard. So at this point, I was like, I have to take what he offers, whatever he offers. So I just tried to make it the best offer I could, and we haggled, and so it's like this. I'm not happy about the money I got for it, but I also can't be mad because it would have been that money. It wouldn't have been no money anyway. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Makes sense. It's like it's better than zero. 10% is better than
I'll,
0%
I'll take
kind of
I'll
thing.
take anything. I'll take anything other than zero.
Yeah, I'm right.
I mean, I've been in that position where I sold a car and I just was like, man, damn. But hey, uh, in the long run, I was happy I got rid of it.
Yeah.
And rule of acquisition number 286: a man is only worth the sum of his possessions. Always remember that.
That's right. But it is 9 o'clock, guys, and we've been on for 2 hours 20 minutes, and I do have to shut it down because if I just leave, y'all, I thought about it. I was like, you know what? If I leave and y'all just end the show, it's just gonna be up live, just sitting there for however long.
For hours.
I
Yeah,
have
that's
to
why
shut
we
it off.
stayed. Yeah. Nah, that's
Yeah,
why we stayed. Nah, we stayed.
I
We held
appreciate
you
it.
down. We held
I
you down.
appreciate that. So yeah, guys. So Wednesday again, like I said, Wu-Tang, the new episode of Wu-Tang, and the first episode of Mandalorian. So it's gonna be Wu Wars Wednesday, and we're gonna chop it up and review those shows with y'all, and talk about all those things, Wu-Tang and hip hop and Star Wars. Thank you, Slade. We appreciate that, and we salute everybody, man. Slade, Wilson, Norn, Rad. Thank y'all, man. Even Fanny Reamer and Corey Adger and everybody that came out. We salute you. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. All right, man. We'll see you Wednesday. Peace.
Peace.